Just like that.
All right. We should be live. We should be broadcasting. This is a new method for us, trying to get, I've done this a couple times where I talk to myself. We talked with Draft Therapy. He taught me some new tricks. I think the tricks are working. So we should be streaming both to YouTube and Facebook. And if there's folks out there, I think there might be a few people watching already. Please write us in comments if you have questions and stuff. We're going to kind of get rolling with beers here. So I'll just say quick who we got today. We got myself, Peter, co-founder, Beards Brewery. And we got Emily. Introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone. It's your Harbinger, Emily.
And she's our resident sales rep. And then we have Esteban Bartelo.
Hello.
Bartelo.
Steve Bartel, Beards Brewery. Nice to be here.
All right, good. And Steve is our artist in residence. So we've done a lot of fun projects over the year. It's been hard for us not being close together. So we figured, what can we do to kind of make a something interesting, fun, reconnect, and maybe reconnect with some fans. So I think we're all going to crack a beer. I got myself here a nice Copper Star.
Oh, as do I.
Oh, that's reversed imagery.
I got some Armadillo in my tumbler.
Ooh.
This is tough. It's a the camera backwards.
It is. You try to move it. That really got me the first time.
It's like a circus game where you can't win.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I got reminiscing here a little of some of the nice concerts we had in our pub.
Yeah, with those posters there, you mean?
Sitting up by our pub wall a little bit. And we're excited to eventually get back to that, hopefully, in the near future.
Big time.
No.
So
it's a good corner where you're sitting, Peter, since you've got the new posters at the new pub, but you also have the records from the original pub on your other side.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Here, I can go back here so we can check it. Yeah, so we got some good records. Oh, I got the right hand there. Boy, that's hard. And then we got some classic shows here that we've run. So exciting. Emily, you have the Facebook stream up?
I do.
Or Steve, you see, are we getting any comments? I think let's touch
questions yet or anything now.
Let's touch base quick on what we're drinking here. So first,
I see Sean and Michelle and Christian are all in the house though, so we have some great representatives here to join us. If you guys got a beer, here's a virtual toast to you. I know you can't see you, but cheers. Everyone. Appreciate you.
Throw it up so we can get it closer. Cheers. Yeah, so right now I'm drinking Copper, Steve's drinking Copper. Of course, if you guys don't know, that's our kind of our summary beer. It's pomegranate IPA featuring all Michigan hops. It's something that we've always wanted to support local hops, local producers as much as we can. And we're going to be doing even more with that. And I think right now is, such a tough time for a lot of people. So anything you can do to support your local people and folks is awesome. So please do know that we buy all local hops for this beer, 100%. So that's very exciting.
And those guys are great over there, Mike and the boys and the crew. Mm-hmm. So I got some stuff on Facebook here for you. We got a virtual wave from Bitter Donald. Brewer in the Harbinger. And then we got Ashley Brower. Whitney says cheers. Cheers, Ashley.
Oh, yeah. Look, so I can see those coming in now, too. So
can you?
That's great.
All right.
So that's really good. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I think if you guys are in our area, we are doing beer delivery, and we're running to go as well. So you can get in on this beer action if you want.
Cheers, Sean.
Cheers, Sean. Awesome. So, another thing.
By the way.
What'd you say?
This is my personal favorite, Copper Star Galactica.
Yes, it is quite excellent. Emily, what's your favorite?
My favorite changes day to day and depending on my mood. Because today was so gloomy and kind of dark outside, I wanted something bright. So I went with Armadillo, which you can't see the can, but you can see it on my really cool Beards tumbler.
Yeah.
But the bitterness is nice. It kind of wakes me up a little. And then the Mosaic hops and the Amarillo are kind of bright and a little bit fruity too. So it's a good one. It's a good snack. Also, it has some substance to it.
That's delicious.
Ooh, we got hello from Chris Wiley. Hi. The other thing I was thinking, you were talking about the gloomy day today, and I was like, man, this is the type of,
Andrea. Sorry.
This is the type of day where I would be sitting here like, oh man, I don't want to go out. I just stay at home and watch movies. Now it's like, did that for the last 40 days or whatever.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You're isolated, but at least you're in a leather chair at the pub there.
Yeah, it's not all bad. Not all bad.
You're just missing a smoking pipe there.
Yeah. Boy, this cord, everyone may notice. Right before this, of course, we went to test it out, and my wireless headphones were like, no, not gonna wireless today. So fortunately, I had a cord, but unfortunately, I think maybe because it's wireless headphones, they include a really short cord. They're like, you're not gonna need this. You have wireless.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I don't understand that either. My headphones cord is not very long.
Yeah. What is the short cord about? I mean, that seems just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow, guys.
Big
problem.
Solve this here. I don't want to buy a long one because I don't want to buy one.
Yeah.
No.
What did everyone
just
do?
to update everyone, I asked everyone, and hopefully we'll get some comments, but I was curious to see how our listeners spent their rainy day.
And please, if you guys have a beer that you're drinking, throw that on the chat as well.
What you're drinking for sure.
We're happy to talk about it. We've tried a lot of different beers. We might have opinions, might not. It doesn't have to be a Beards beer. I've been encouraging folks like, hey, what do you have in your beer fridge that's maybe shouldn't still be there? It's been a little long. Let's crack one of those and see. I've been poking through, and I want to do one of these where I pull some of these out. I have a barrel-aged These Nuts, which we only did one time in Bombers.
As do I.
So that'd be fun. Emily, you have one?
No, I drank mine.
Okay.
I drank
one.
We can't
get together to share it.
Sorry, not sorry.
I guess Steve and I could share. You could drink something else from the beer fridge. Do you have any gems in your beer fridge?
I'd have to check the fridge. It's been a minute. I'm usually on the road so much that my beer collecting days are not as, big anymore. But I'll come raid your fridges,
And we have some questions or answers here. And I also want to give a quick shout out to my boy Jeff. We got Defiance, Ohio in the house.
Nice.
One of the roadie boys. One of my friends since 6th grade when I moved to Ohio. What's up, Jeff? Cheers to you, my brother.
And so, it looks like people did some work today from home. That's, quite the thing. Christian's got barrel-aged These Nuts. You say he's listening. Okay, we should probably do a re-release of that, especially if we talk about it too much. But it is quite excellent. And let's see. Donald is working on a brewing system, getting ready to brew for Big Brew Day this Saturday. So, they're doing a virtual Big Brew Day, I saw, which should be pretty cool.
Cool.
That's typically a time folks gather together and do kind of like home brewing outdoors, but we can't do that. So I'm glad that you're working on it. ESB, that's awesome. I love ESB. It's a style we don't maybe get to do as much and maybe isn't as appreciated, but we have a couple of those in our portfolio that we love. So
yes, we do.
Quite excellent. So nice. So some of you folks might notice right towards the end of last year we started a What's Your Craft show, which is kind of our take on like interviewing artists and crafters and seeing what they're doing. We've always taken a really artistic bent to the brewery. We love working on the artwork, putting ourselves into our project. We of course are passionate about the beer. And so finding a way to communicate with others that are passionate about what they do is something that's important. So we decided to stream this on our What's Your Craft YouTube as well. And if you haven't watched those episodes, feel free to go back. I thought it'd be fun to touch a little bit on, like, right before, everything went down here and we had to kind of lock down. We were fortunate enough, like the week before, to have been out and filming a What's Your Craft Show episode. So we have one in the can. Things have been busy, so we haven't got it done, but pulled it out and started editing, and we're going to have a little teaser coming out there. And it's a rally racing team. So there's a teaser coming out this weekend, and then hopefully another week or two we'll have the full episode out. So I hope you guys are interested to see some of that. It's another local place. They build their own car for these races.
You might have got dropped off of Facebook, story. Peter, not to cut you off. Can you check on your end there? Does it look like you're still rolling live?
Everything says we're still broadcasting.
Okay.
It says we have 25 folks.
All right, my phone just
still. So.
All right, my phone just flipped for some reason. It said, "Do you want to start a live video? Your scheduled time has expired." So I don't know what the deal is like that.
It's still coming through on me, Steve. So
you're still getting okay. Tim here says he can see it, so that's good. All right, good. So, anyways,
hey, Ohio in the house. What up, Defiance? Timmy Honstein. Sorry, I'm gonna give shout outs this whole time. It's just the way it's gonna go. Appreciate the support, my man.
But we appreciate all you guys checking it out and listening to what we got.
Peter, did you see? I think we've got Nate watching us. Hey.
Nate.
All right, for everyone who is tuned in but doesn't know, Nathaniel Morton was one of our original brewers at the old pub. Hey, Nate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you're there still.
I can't see who's watching. I can just see a total number, and I can see the comments on the program I'm using to stream it. So that's great.
Nate's here.
That is. Hey, Nate, if you're drinking something tasty, throw a comment in there. Let us know. What's your choice?
It's up to 7.
Choice beverage.
Got the wave from him.
So, Steve, I thought it'd be interesting to touch a little bit on with the What's Your Craft show. Like, what have you been enjoying about the process of making the show? It's kind of a new thing for us.
Oh man, well, personally, I'm kind of just learning, because it's always good to learn something new. Because I'm just not. I like not being very good at something, because then you get a chance to work at it. And if you're into it, right? If you don't like it, obviously you're not going to work at it. But yeah, learning. But besides that, the best part is just
hold on. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick, because
no problem.
Nate gave us the thumbs up, and his mom is watching, and we just got Phil to welcome Ben's brother. So
all right,
it's turning into a regular party here.
Yeah, now, that's fine. That's
a safe, distant party.
Yes, very safe. Yeah, I'm coming live from my living room right now. Beautiful.
It looks like Nate might actually. He says waiting for the kettle to top off, so he might actually be brewing right now.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Golden, how you doing?
We got Lake Effect Rally just came on, so that circles us back to to What's Your Craft, and they're going to be our next episode, which we're really excited about.
Absolutely, they're super great people, which what I was going to get to. So, like, personal level, it's been good to, like, it's just I just love the process of creating whatever. So being bad at something and learning, not that I think we're putting out fun content, but I'm just saying personally, I'm not a TV host. So I'm just trying to do it as naturally as I can and have fun. Besides that, it's the people, and it's like literally what the show's for if nobody's watched it, we're trying to provide inspiration to others, that, you get a look into the way, different individuals who are creating on a high level in one medium or another, how their wheels turn. So that just inherently will, get your wheels turning. So I really love that. I just like people in general. So it's great to meet strangers and then have them turn out to be really fun to hang out with. And, we don't call them interviews, we call them conversations, and that's kind of how we try to approach it. And, it's been really great. Just I can't believe, like, this, some of it is like, we consider some of this work. I mean, we're working hard. It's all takes time, and it's all work, but it's just super fun to meet new people that are as passionate as we are, doing what they do, because, I've, been with the team for a handful of years now, and our team is in each department and stuff. There's just people that are really passionate about the process and like what they're doing. So to meet folks outside of our business that are doing the same thing on different platforms is just a blast. And as an artist, I'm just getting more. It's just driving me. Like, we met with Mary B a little while ago, and just, she's so prolific, and she talks about that in her episode, how prolific of an artist she is. She's always creating. I mean, every time I go over there, she's painting on something new, whether it's a bike or it's a wagon she might have found on the way to the studio or something. I don't know. But so I've actually produced more artwork personally on the side, just for my own enjoyment, more than ever in the last few years, actually. Well, since working with beards, I should say, since we started doing the show, because I'm just naturally inspired by the people we're meeting. So, and
I think that's, definitely like a huge benefit to talking to other creative folks and looking like, hey, what drives them, is finding that camaraderie, right? Like, it's like, hey, I understand that because like I feel that about what I do, but then it helps rekindle that too, right? So it makes you want to like explore in new areas, but it also kind of gives you a renewed passion for what you're doing, because seeing people excel at that, I think is
well, it makes me even back to me not being a good show host yet, because I'm new to the game, right? So it's even inspiring for that. Like, I love all my beards work I get to do as a creative, part of the creative department, and just even I'll do a show and I'm like, these guys are great, man. Dawson from Michigan Sloyd, I just can't believe his level of craftsmanship, and that just takes a lot of effort to do. It doesn't happen by accident, so they're just very inspiring. So that's my favorite part about that.
Do you guys think there's something extra special about, Michigan being such a mecca for different kind of craft and different kind of artisans? And what do you guys think?
I think there is something special about that. I mean, for sure. And there's we've just started the show, but I mean, we haven't barely left northern Michigan because there's so much creativity in just this pocket, right? And I think that's definitely. I think people require a deeper something that inspires them. Something that's more than just getting through the day. And I think that's when you can build a community around that. And I think that's kind of the idea of the show too, is to find a community of folks as we get more interviews. Like, there's a community of people that want to share what they're doing and engage with us and with that audience. So I think that's really cool.
And I would say this about like the area we personally live in. I mean, Michigan is a state I can't speak to. I haven't lived everywhere, obviously. I mean, I'm sure artists find inspiration everywhere they live, all around them. But the area we live in, the coast, but just as the area around here, I would say this about artists: they're willing to take risks. And they're willing in their work, but they're also willing to take risks in life, right? So like moving, like I know a lot of people that love places, but they don't want to move for whatever reasons. And those are all valid reasons. Some of the times I don't want to move away from family, whatever it may be. Like, I moved here because I wanted to live by big water. I wanted to have beaches. I wanted to, as they say, live somewhere you'd want a vacation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm raising my family here, same thing. So I feel like areas like this attract creative people because they're willing to move to areas like this, first of all. But what I'm seeking for is like day-to-day happiness, and like what's outside our doors here around Petoskey and the Bay brings that to me and my children. My kids thank me all the time for moving here, right? So I think there's something to be said for areas like I can't think of this, Sedona, Arizona, right? It's just a mecca for artists. If you go there, there's a million galleries. There's amazing work. It's just I think beautiful places attract creative people because we're always in search of inspiration.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of inspiration from nature, and we're in a beautiful spot. So for sure, I think you can find inspiration from what people do, and you can find inspiration from nature. Sometimes it's a little different. I think I have a question for Emily, but I want to call out a couple of things here. We got a few comments. Unfortunately, we can't deliver to Camp Grayling. It's just a little bit outside of our driving range.
Sorry, Phil.
Sorry, Phil.
Phil.
And looks like I miss you guys from Yosh here. Keep it safe always. Cheers.
Cheers, Yosh. That's our kitchen magician.
But Emily, so what I was going to say is I think, you see it in a little different. Emily, you spend a lot of time on the market interacting with customers. And I think seeing the passion for our product, like how that inspires back, right? And from the flip side, like we're interviewing these other artists and it's like inspirational to us to see them doing their thing. But I think the other way you can get inspiration is from seeing how your customer or consumer of your art are inspired by it or how they interact with it. And what do you think on that, Emily? You do a lot of beer tastings and things like when people try something for the first time at a beer festival, like, I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing, that like feedback, right?
No,
Absolutely.
definitely. I like a lot of the time how, again, using your example as like the first time they try our beer, it's either connected with a specific nostalgia or love for, our region up north, and they've already made this like, they're like, oh, this place means so much to us. I really want to try this beer because, and then you have someone who knows maybe absolutely nothing about us. And it's just like diving into like a miniature deep end of beer. And, in that moment, it's just, it's not just a beer. It's like they're trying on beards for the first time.
Yeah.
And, you get to explain yourself through the beer process, but, it almost turns into the beer is a good excuse to start that conversation about the brand, about the community and what we're about. Because no matter what, when you're on the road or selling your beer somewhere else, people, they want to know about the liquid, but more than anything, they want to know about the story and what we stand for and, who our people are and our team. So it's always gratifying usually, except for those, one or two people at a festival who are just drunk on the high gravity beer, but
that happens.
Usually right at the end.
Having fun.
The unreasonable bargainers at the end.
Yeah, I feel like there's the unreasonable.
Is that backwards to the public? That says Smoking Joe Flores. I love that.
Did you write that backwards?
No, it's not backwards. It's regular.
Nice.
It's just your movements are backwards. I don't know.
Love you, Joey.
So we got a couple other comments here from a Christy. She loved her visit to the pub. Beer was amazing. Views were breathtaking. Yes, we live in a beautiful area up here in Petoskey and views of the bay, and we built a nice outdoor patio too. So we're optimistic that we'll be getting the patio rocking at least this summer and able to directly interact a little bit more again. And then it looks like we got a question for you from Kirsten. Thanks for watching.
Hey, Kirsten.
So,
all right, so Kirsten's question for moi. How has my inspiration for beards changed over the last 5 years? And then it looks like she's asking you as well, Peter. I guess I'll go first for a sec. If everyone, tuning in doesn't know, I'm actually originally from Southeast Michigan. But my inspiration for beards, for continuing to work for beards, for being a beards enthusiast in general, I have to say my motivations are kind of the same from when I moved up here a little over 5 years ago. I love Northern Michigan, and the first time I ever tripped into beards as a customer, it was kind of everything I wanted in a little place. It was just a little haven for not only good beer and, good food, but good atmosphere, good company, good interactions. And, that's why we stick around, no matter how much, the evolution comes or how we grow. It's always going to go back to that little pub and Peter built not that long ago, but, almost 8 years ago now.
Definitely getting longer ago. And it's always hard to imagine that. We had a call out. Thanks for that the curbside pickup is great in this crazy time. We appreciate that. I think we talked a lot about whether or not to run through this, and I think we decided that the community needs something that can still be kind of a relief, so to speak. So it's been touching to us, the community support, and also like again, as we were talking about the inspiration, how it's affected other people's lives, and that it really does mean something to them, that they can get that little reprieve from cooking every meal at home, which is something people aren't used to anymore. But I'm going to go back to the 5-year question here for a minute. I'm learning how to do these little, solo
Lima,
things
Ohio,
here.
Mitchell.
So, yeah, I think how has it changed for me has been like, I think when we started the pub, Ben and I had to be so to speak, we were the creative vision for everything, and I think we're still super hands-on and put our thumbprint on a lot of stuff, but it's been fun to see how it's become a team, and how, I don't know, I sometimes feel a relief that we don't necessarily have to be the creative inspiration for everything. Like I find so much value to working in a team, and so that's been the big benefit for me. We've been able to grow, so we've been able to bring on folks that can have a real impact on the direction of the company, and in a way where we work creatively, collaboratively, and it's not a one-man show. I think that, it's kind of like a band in that sense. When you get a group together, a lot of times it enhances. And
hey, you and Ben are still Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
You're still the Lizard King. You're still the Lizard King.
Yeah.
Peter and Steve, a couple awesome shout outs. We have Steph Harding and Drake Nagel tuning in.
Oh, hey, Drake.
Is editor in Brew.com, an awesome Michigan media representative company. They've done lots of really cool articles, good beards features.
Yeah.
And Drake Nagel is, one of the founders of Happy's Taco Shop. And we've been those guys since our early years. So thanks for tuning in, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, and especially with Drake, he was involved in the early days. If he's got any thoughts he wants to throw out there about, like, what was it like in the small operation? Any insights or fun quips? Yeah, we did a kind of a cross pollination in a small little spot, where we were able to partner, and partnering has been a huge thing. I mean, we've done a lot with different companies. Dripworks, which a lot of people remember, were out front of us, and we did like a beer dinner with them where they made stuff and brought it into our space. We've been able to do that with Roast and Toast and other community partners, and I think that's something, we're kind of doing this live stream today is a little bit of a test, testing some new equipment, testing how to bring it together, but something we want to do is start making an intentional focus of how to have these conversations with our community partners and other players in the community, bringing them on as guests. And then with our What's Your Craft angle, maybe picking another day a week that it makes sense to dive deeper with some of those folks. And because they're a part of the community too, in a different way, kind of two different angles, those parts of the community that we've partnered with on projects and stuff, and those that, are providing a lot of that artistic value and entertainment.
Yeah. Shout out Happy's Tacos. Those things are crazy good tacos.
We're looking for the day that we can get some of those again. The super burrito.
Anything chorizo?
Their chorizo is just tip top.
Their lamb cheeseburger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do good things. I
still dream about the lamb cheeseburger.
So you guys, I think I made an accidental logo while you guys were talking earlier, but I figured you guys.
Oh, that's good.
Where are we tap handles there? Are we?
No, you're just, I don't know, you're just stick figures.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought our heads were on a stick for like a tap handle. That's great.
No, that's as far as Emily's artistic talents go. But
what I did was this here, which we're gonna have to all look around. I figured out how to get this on, but I couldn't figure out how to make it smaller. So we have a lot of beards here. Maybe in a future episode we can make that go so it's gives each of us a beard and we put it in just the right spot, right?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I say hi to my friend Brent Branson. I used to slam dunk basketballs on him all the time, so thanks for letting me do that, Brent. Appreciate you. He'll know what that means.
We got a shout out from the Michigan Tap Room. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers, Larry.
Thanks for tuning in. So again, if anybody has any beers they want to share with us, comments they want, stories. I did a couple of these live broadcasts by myself. It was really awkward. I just monologued, but I did answer questions, and it was great that people engaged, made it less awkward, right? And we discussed like the history of certain beers. We discussed like, will this beer come back? Like a favorite one-off we did. What went on behind the scenes. If you got questions about what we've done with our artwork, labels, what inspired the history, and anything, you've got a good little a brain trust here, so to speak, of folks that have been engaged at different levels of the enterprise. And so, Emily, you're 5 years in, and Steve, three years
full time. I'm working on my 3rd year. September will be my anniversary, my 3-year anniversary. Yeah, I did some subcontracting before.
Yeah,
which so I've known you for about 4 years now.
I think that's code for I drank beer before I worked at Beards, which was employee at Beards.
No, there was official invoices and everything.
Oh wow! Okay. Well,
Peter did say that to me. Yeah.
So we got a cheers from Mitten Brew. Hey,
hey, what's up,
they love Emily, and we love Emily too. So we
really love my dad was watching.
And then we got a question: will the 6-pack 6K happen this year?
Ooh,
and
Mary.
That's a great question.
Mary's on the board. She's asking this. This is.
It's kind of like.
It's kind of like all things right now.
It's kind of like all things right now. It's anything to get. Now, I will tell you, an outdoor run is a good thing, I guess, as long as you're not drafting the runner in front of you, I hear, then that's fairly safe.
You might have to mask up.
Yeah, but, we got a little bit of time yet on that, so we're
I'm cautiously optimistic,
as
a physician would say.
Okay, so I'm saying I'm not. We're gonna leave it there because I've been on so many
Mary,
so many Zoom calls. There are Google Meets I use, and ever like my one cousin quipped like the first 10 minutes of every caller have now been devoted to that which shall not be named. So we're not going to take up time on the details of that. But the funny thing I heard on NPR did this article on why like Zoom calls just like aren't, it's like not, it's good that we have this, but it's not so satisfying. And they had this great quote. It was like, it's like super awkward and weird to have a bunch of disembodied heads staring at you for several hours. That's like the best. It's like, plus people don't usually like, mostly when they're on calls on their computer, they're like really close, and you don't usually stand that close to someone's face. So it's just like kind of like weird after a while. Yeah. So you see here, I've set myself back.
I don't think we have any close talkers at Beards per se, but some people certainly do talk this close, and it's very uncomfortable. I always like breathe out of like one nostril because I'm like trying not to suck in their bad breath. Like if they're over here,
and if you had 9 people talking weirdly close to you at once,
right?
Which some of these group calls get into.
Hey babe, can I have a beer?
Some updates on the comments, guys. Kirsten got a little mushy, but we don't mind a little bit of mush. You know,
yeah.
the love goes around. And thank you so much for being proud of us, Kirsten. We couldn't do it without our team or our community.
Yeah.
I have to do a shout out. My dad is watching me.
Hey, Mr. Harbinger of beer.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking Emily never calls me, and then she just spends all her time on the internet talking to these other folks.
You better say hi again.
My boss just threw me under the bus with my dad. I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't know. You might be calling him. I just
we're in touch.
And then we got Phil says he misses the pairing dinners. We'll be doing more pairing dinners. You know, pairing dinners are nice from the standpoint that you know who's coming, when they're coming, and everyone kind of sits in their own seat. So maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we'll do a lot more pairing dinners. I can't say for sure, but I will say that we do love pairing dinners, and you know, we have to kind of figure out what the normal is going to be and what capacity we can do things. But absolutely, pairing dinners will be part of our future. The last one we did, the whole hog throwdown. Ooh, that was so good. We took a whole hog. We made stuff from all the different parts.
Well, that's Yoshi and Ed in the kitchen, and John. Those guys.
John, yeah.
Hey, Carrie. I miss Carrie.
Yeah.
Hi, Carrie. I don't know if you're watching, but
they had a lot of Jeremy was involved.
Jeremy. Sorry, yeah.
We had a lot of. It was a fun opportunity for our crew, and you know, getting the brew crew involved, because I think for us, like, you know, picking the pairing part of it, that's like such a unique thing. That's one of the early things that attracted me into craft beer, is finding that beer and food pairing and how that created. A lot of you who are familiar have probably heard me talk about this before, but I just love that scene in Ratatouille when he's like, oh, you can take this cheese and you can take this strawberry, and it's delicious, and then you take a bite of both and it's like a whole new combination. And the way they visualize that with sound, and it was kind of like an orchestra playing and the colors blending. But I think that's like such a good example of what a good beer and food pairing can do, because you can take this dish that's amazing, you can take this beer that's amazing, and when you put them together, it's just this new thing, you know, that's just a lot of fun. So
no, I think we get the most. One of my favorite things when we host pairings outside of beers at some of our accounts is we'll get people who come, you know, on the front side of things for the food, because they know they love the food, and they'll tell me, you know, I'm not a big beer drinker, but, you know, I love these dinners. It's such a good opportunity. And I always tell them, I was like, you say you don't like beer, but this is a completely different experience. You know, your palate is going to have different flavors from the food. So I'm always like, try the beer. And the amount of people who are just like, wow, that combination is amazing. You're right. I love this beer now. And I'm like, there you go. So yeah, it's like a little bit of magic happening right in front of you.
Yeah. I see we have a comment, when are we going to Japan? And my answer to that is just as soon as feasible here. I just had a dream last night that I was in the airport trying to go to Japan. And nice.
My mother-in-law Claudia is watching. Hi, Mom. I love you. I miss you.
But for those of you who don't know, we have maybe I would say a healthy fascination with Japan. And Michigan has a sister state, which are prefectures over there, Shiga prefecture. So we're pretty excited about, actually we were going to be going to a festival there in May, which again is not happening. But that's something we want to explore more. And I think that's a whole nother part of like community, is like connecting communities. Like you can't necessarily be in a community to everywhere, but finding somewhere that's like culturally different, where you also try to develop a sense of community, I think is really healthy, because people bring such a different perspective. Travel for me has always been such an eye opener to how different people live, and how that's like there's there's so much when you grow up as a kid, you kind of think like this is how things are done, right? But no, there's like a lot of ways to do things. They're not necessarily all good or bad. They're just different, you know. And like so much of what we learn is like how we grew up, right? So like seeing how other people grew up and like and how they approach things differently, or even just like food, like what they think as normal or comfort food, you know. So I think that's a lot of fun.
I think that's unique to some of the Beards team as well. A lot of us, you know, exploration and travel is very important to us, and, you know, having those cultural experiences. And I think that ties back a lot to us always, you know, making it work or finding creative solutions and kind of, you know, not being afraid to try new things and kind of setting ourselves apart a little bit. So it's fun having a defined brand and, you know, having our principles, so to speak. But, you know, we're always up for some exploration, that's for sure. And it's exciting. It's fresh.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's important.
And we have a question from Peter Manthei. Shout out to all the Mantheis. She's asking us what our favorite non-American beer is.
Boy, that's tough. So I think for me, and actually, if you look back at the history of like craft beer a little bit, like getting into the history of craft, like a lot of what people were doing before they were drinking craft in America is like importing beer, right? Because that's how you got the variety. There was some different stuff. Of course, like a big country for something very different than what we would have found in America is the Belgians and the Belgian styles. Now they have a kind of select styles. You know, maybe they didn't have the variety, so to speak, that American craft beers come up with. But what were their traditional styles? Again, as we were talking about culture and finding what people were used to and what they grew up with, what was traditional styles in Belgium is like nothing what that was available in America. So as I got into beer, that was like one of the first go-to things for me, was like discovering these different Belgian styles. Because particularly with Belgians, the yeast tends to be a driving piece of the flavor profile. So really unique strains developed over time. And so I think it's great to, for me, I would say Belgian styles, Belgian triples, and dark strong ales are a couple of my favorite ones, but I've also definitely had a lot of different beers from different places. German beers, again, they have really traditional styles that are defined by their yeasts or their hops that are grown traditionally there. But definitely what got me into like the idea of more flavor and the broadening, other than some of the early American craft beers, like a Sierra Nevada or something, would be Belgian styles. And I had a good trip to Belgium that I was fortunate to take early on. Really helped me open my eyes up to what beer could be, and also the care of like making it small and local. I mean, there's certainly big brewers in Belgium, but a lot of these places that have a brewery in every town, or the town was named after the brewery, or vice versa, the brewery was named after the town, and they were such a part of the culture. So Emily, do you have some thoughts on that?
Well, I'm definitely not, I'm straying away from going into a whole style, but I immediately, and I probably because my dad's watching and it made me think of it, one of my beers not brewed here in America, and I'm going super specific, is the premium lager called Sleeman's, which is a Canadian brand. And that, besides being a very nice, crisp, refreshing, traditional cream ale, it's also, we drank a lot of it on a lot of our family camping trips growing up. Once we were Canadian legal, I will have you know. So it wasn't like underage drinking. But again, I attach a lot of my favorite beers.
Maybe that's what attracted me to Belgium too. I was 19. Yeah. It was legal.
There you go. We're just cultured around here. It's
I went to Windsor on some real seedy shit at 19.
I was gonna say,
I don't even want to tell that one, but it was
I don't think
anybody that's went to Windsor knows the experiences. If you were 19 or 20 or whatever I was.
Fair enough.
We got a hello from Minnesota, and
Minnesota.
I didn't mean to cut you off there. So if you had more to say on your favorite, you were on Canadian beers, but
oh, sorry. Dog interruption.
That's okay. That's the fun of it, right?
Yeah. No,
Sure.
Keep it simple. Go Canada, and they make good beer. So our neighbors.
Phil.
So Phil's got a really deep one here for us. The connection between Corona beer and coronavirus. I think that's primarily an exercise in unfortunate marketing, negative marketing. Although, I don't know, maybe they've sold more. People are like, hey, that must be the cure.
They actually, I think, are working on releasing a seltzer.
They already did. They had a horrible timing, actually. I feel bad for them. But they had horrible timing that as soon as it kind of hit here in the States or whatever, I remember the first commercial I saw was something about it. New seltzers washing ashore, and it was 2 cans sitting on the sand with the sea washing in, like washing ashore, like as what not good. Unfortunate for sure. But there's zero connection. To be clear, there's zero connection outside of the wording,
which is unfortunate. Even big brands, you hate to see them catch a bad break like that.
Thankfully, I only drink Delicious Beard's Craft Michigan produced beer.
Well, that's just the safest thing to be drinking right now.
That's right. Keep it close. Yeah. Keep it close to your heart, close to your belly.
I think, so there was an interesting article about like the connection of like what we need now is like craft beer kind of was the concept. But the concept was that like craft beer was a decentralization of beer, right? And in throughout America, we've tended to gain efficiency and lower costs. We've centralized like food production. And we've seen some cracks in that system, right? And there's been a movement to, local farms and supporting farmers. And I think now more than ever, like it just makes sense, right? Because there's a disruption in supply that's coming from wherever, but the guy down the street's still making, So I think that craft beer for whatever, and people latched on to like smaller coffee shops that were doing their own roasting became a thing. And of course, Roast and Toast here in town was kind of ahead of the curve on that. Nobody did their roasting 20 years ago or whenever they started and got a roaster. I mean, that was super uncommon, even if you were a craft coffee shop, like doing like with baristas making cool drinks and stuff, you probably weren't roasting your own coffee. So I do think that's an interesting thing, like and it'll be interesting to see if we get that further like move back towards more locally produced products. That was already kind of a trend, but see if that hits even harder now.
Take that down. My wife's cooking, so I'm having her take down the smoke alarm. True story.
Bartel, you got a hello.
You got a hello.
Yeah. Shout out, my man Grant Smith. Let me line this up again.
Hey, Steve. Here's a fun idea.
I like my ideas.
Do you like fun ideas?
No, I like fun ideas. What's up? Shout out Grant. Let me say hi to Grant real quick. Grant, it's been years. Miss you, brother. Hope everything's well with you and your family.
And we appreciate you watching.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
So what I was going to say would be fun here while we're live and you have a notepad is to do a 1 minute caricature of me and Emily and you.
Okay. 1 minute? That's come on. All right.
It's 1 minute. Like, 1 minute per person. See, Emily did it already.
Oh, 1 minute per person.
Yeah, 1 minute per person, and then show it.
All right. Oh, okay. We're gonna separate. I'll put us all together.
Here, yeah, you put us together.
Say go.
Okay, let's see. We got 49 and a half minutes, so at 52 and a half. All right, so you're good. You're good. Go right now.
There you go.
Emily, while he's doing this, we just need to look really good into the camera. So he's got inspirational shots of us.
I think we've got, let's see. Kirsten asked us another question, Peter. So
okay, that's good.
She asked us what we're all looking forward to most this summer. Yeah.
I always look forward most to getting on the water. And
Definitely.
I'm thinking that's kind of a good thing that you can do without getting too close to other people generally. I guess depending on who you invite on what boat. But you don't even have to get on a boat. You can just like get in the water. So
oh man, I'm planning on meeting at the sandbar already. You know, I can stay 10 feet away from you at the sandbar.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's maybe
Peter,
for me.
done. You're done. Peter's done. Oh, Emily, damn it. Women are so much harder. I'm just like, oh, they're all pretty. I don't want to do it, man. Salt them. All right, here we go.
That was perfect. That was 1 minute on me.
Okay.
Emily, what are you looking forward to?
Summer. Summers are usually crazy, so I'm intrigued to see what this summer looks like. But in between the crazy for work, my favorite things to do are just to get on some trails, do some hikes, and jump in a body of water. Those simple things. And usually I get to see all of my family in the summer. So it's always good to see the cousins and the aunts and uncles. It's good times.
Yeah. And any of you listening to us here, if you got a favorite summer activity, throw it in the comments. We'd love to discuss with you. We really want you guys to be a part of the conversation. It's okay, Steve. So the other thing I was thinking that, maybe would be interesting for folks is like, what have you been reading, right? We have a program, Petoskey Reads. Emily, I saw you posted a picture earlier of some of the books you've been going through. Give us a highlight of what the best thing you've read in the last month.
Oh, well.
Emily, I'm sorry. I made your lips look like the Joker's. I'm drawing with this giant marker. But Emily's done. So that's 2.
All right, man, you're right on schedule here. So you got 45 seconds on yourself.
Here we go.
Well, let's see. The one thing I can be a little, positive silver lining in the quarantine has been a little bit of reading time, which is nice. I've read a lot of books in the last few weeks. My favorite would probably have to be That's like asking for a favorite movie.
No, it doesn't have to be favorite. Just like a point of interest. Like I read this, it was interesting. Even if it was like a line, a paragraph, something that caught your attention. It doesn't have to be the favorite thing you read. Sorry.
So I read a really good horror fiction novel that was it was kind of a retelling of the Donner Party. So I don't know about the Donner Party, got lost in the mountains, maybe resorted to cannibalism, all that kind of stuff.
Totally ate that.
Anyways, it was a really spooky,
all right.
Go Steve.
What's it called? Quick, 3 seconds. The book.
Oh, yeah, book. Good, scary retelling of the Donner Party. So if you like scary shit and spooky shit, you should read it. I got it from McLean and Eakin, so buy local.
All right, you're on Steve solo here.
I'll try to line it up good here.
Yeah.
You look like the Joker.
I know. I went for a big. I love your smile. I went for a big smile because I love the smile, and the teeth were there. I had nothing to do. So it's like Emily at Halloween.
This was a really good idea, so I'm glad that. Thanks for indulging us.
Sure.
Good job, Steve.
Yeah. If I had a notepad, I would give you guys a rendition of what I could do, but I don't have a notepad, so I can't. Sorry.
Next time.
No problem.
I see Grant Smith said this gave him a good reason to crack a beer, and that's great. Let us know what you're drinking.
Grant's actually one of the first people I ever really talked to about craft beer. Like,
really?
Yeah. Since Grant's here, I'll tell a quick little story, even though I tend to ramble. So you just tell me to cut me off, Peter, if you need to. All right. So anyways, I had a work construction out in Colorado. Met him on a large hotel project in Vail, Colorado. And he was actually, funny enough, I started working on his logo a few years later, Peter. But he was interested in going into brewing, and he was working for Crazy Mountain Brewing, it was called. So that's I believe it's in Edwards, Colorado still. Grant, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, his friend Kevin is the head brewer. I forget his wife's name, so I apologize for that. But good people. Anyways, that was like the first time I got introduced to like a tap room or whatever. I in my 20s, I think maybe I was 29 or 30 when I met Grant. But in my 20s, hey.
We're discussing Grant's question here, which isn't really a question. Bartel's just rolling with it.
Yeah. So Grant it kind of introduced me to the idea, and I did a little bit of artwork for that brewery, just some like chalkboard stuff, I think, or something. But yeah, that was my first real interaction with this type of industry. And then, I moved back to Ohio because of family circumstance, and I started working with Grant on some branding options for him if he was going to go forward with opening a brewery. So that's kind of a quick little story.
Nice.
Got kind of my introduction actually to the craft brew industry really. Oops, sorry.
So we got a couple other what people are looking forward to this summer. That was a good story. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
No problem.
I wanted to show these before I lose these comments. We got somebody. Kate Manthei is looking forward to the Beard's Patio. We are looking forward to the Beard's Patio.
Sunset.
Chris Hengstebeck looking forward to doing some scuba diving. That's good. I've never done that. Emily's done that. I think scuba diving is cool.
I think she's done it with this guy, probably, right?
Probably.
Maybe once or twice. I know.
And I did want to highlight this because I thought that this is important. We should answer this.
Yes.
So, what is the first Beard's beer I should treat myself to after the baby is born? That's a great question, right? Now you're sitting here like 9 months off of drinking. You're coming back. You're saying, what Beard's beer should I drink? So I think that's a great question. Who wants to go first? I think we should each have an answer.
Emily's got an answer.
So first off, I want to preface that statement. Kat was, Beard's family. She used to help run the pub back in the early days and is related.
Also, congratulations.
So major shout out, and we miss her up here. And I think we should ask her what beer she misses the most.
Wow, that's a cop out asking with a question. I think we should ask her that. She should answer that. But
sure.
But we should answer too.
Okay, well, we'll see what she says. But I say, I like starting off with one of the tried and trues. So why not just jump back in with the Citranity? A little lower gravity since the tolerance will be low, but it's nice and bright, refreshing. And it's an old Beard standby, so might as well.
It is a standby. That was going to be my thing going back to a standby. I had two recommendations, which is hard because, right, you have one beer that you're going to drink first, just by definition. But yeah, so I would probably go, I don't know, Serendipity for me is always one of those beers when I haven't had it in a while. I'm like, oh yeah, I should bust that out. And then like I crack it and I'm just like never disappointed. Like it always hits the spot, right? But it's like, it's a good, straightforward porter. It's not something you necessarily think like I'm going to drink this every day. Sometimes you do. Like I go through phases and seasonality with the beer, but that's what I would, if I hadn't had one in a while, I'd probably crack that. And if I was going to take something off our draft lineup, I was going to say Green Hundo because it's just so bright and refreshing and big IPA. So
yeah.
As the branding side of things, I'll go with an answer based on branding, which would be Forget Me Not, which is happens to be Peter's and Carrie, his wife Carrie's wedding beer. And the graphics, it's a catamaran made out of cats, sure, but the story behind it is love. And a lot of times babies come from love. So that'd be my answer. Would be the Forget Me Not. Plus, it's delicious. I'm personally allergic to it because of the saison I've discovered, and it really hurts me because it's still so delicious and beautiful in color. And you put it in a glass. And I actually drank it last summer, even though I knew I'd have a reaction.
The hibiscus really makes it pink, and it just looks awesome. Yeah.
So that's my answer. Plus, babies are pink. Well, not always.
Great recommendation, she says, which is good. So it sounds like we adequately addressed that question, and I think we're probably going to wrap up here fairly soon. But if anybody has anything else they want to ask us, this has been a ton of fun. I've loved the engagement. I'd love to hear what you guys are drinking, what you guys are doing, what you're looking forward to. You know, we called this Beards, Cheers, and Happenings. Beers, Cheers, and Happenings because it's just a great way to catch up, re-engage. You know, we're social distancing. I did set up here in our pub because I thought, you know, a lot of people probably miss it. They haven't seen the pub, you know, so I'm here in the little corner. And I think that we're so excited to welcome people back at some point, hopefully soon in the future. But if there's anything you want to chat with us about yet, please keep those questions coming for the next few minutes. And appreciate everyone on here.
I got to shout out. My brother just tuned in, so hey.
Nice.
What's up, Jake?
We've got a lot of Hengstebecs, you know.
Look at that. Clap, clap, clap.
We never turned down a reason to happy hour in the Hengstebeck family. So.
Hey, so we did this at 5 o'clock because I figured, you know, 5 o'clock, that's the time to start cracking a beer, right? So I would say it's a good time for us to highlight what we're drinking. And we'll probably be doing some more 5 o'clocks on Wednesday. And we might be doing some other times on some other days. Who knows? This seemed to work fairly well. If you guys are engaged, if you have questions, if you have topics you want us to cover, feel free to message us or, you know, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You know, check out our What's Your Craft show. If you watch episodes of that and you got questions about, hey, when you interviewed so-and-so, like, what about this or that? Like, send those all our way. We'll log some of that and try to bring it back around on the next live stream. And hopefully we'll have some more guests here soon too. So appreciate everybody following along.
Peter, so you're drinking Copper Star too.
This one's really out in the future.
Yeah. Well, when she's 21.
Right.
Or 19 in Canada. Or wherever throughout the world, Belgium.
I think this is a good sign-off question. So now we all have to recommend. So this is what I would say. So we're talking about 21 years in the future.
Yeah.
So we could recommend something we made today, or we could recommend something we postulate that we might make in the future. Mm-hmm. And so imagine yourself now, 21 years in the future. Maybe we have some space cars flying around like the Jetsons.
So disappointing.
What kind of beers? What should we recommend? Oh, and before you answer, we have, is this a regular Wednesday happy hour? And I think the answer to that is maybe.
Oh, come on.
It was definitely
I'm not against the regular
thought.
happy hour.
It was definitely a thought we had and something that maybe we'd like to continue.
Yeah.
So if you guys think it's a good idea, you know, shoot that to us as well. We'd love to have the feedback.
I'd love to have a beer with a bunch of people that I can't currently have a beer with in the
On
same room,
Wednesday.
you know, at the pub. So it's a good little hump day breaker, you know.
Yeah. So a future beer, 21 years from now.
Beer.
What beer should be consumed by a baby being born here
Jesus.
now?
Well, a future beer. I don't know if this is a horrible thought or a hilarious thought, but the like just thinking back on our full recipe book, the first beer that came to mind was the beer. I think we've only made it once. No regrets.
Not even one letter.
Not even one.
Spelled wrong.
I don't know. I feel like that's my child is 21 beer.
That's a good idea. I think, you know, a craft beer is good to have on your 21st birthday because you're typically after volume, but you should be after quality. And so it sets the stage for your drinking lifestyle.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Boy, it's hard to imagine what craft beer is going to look like in 21 years. But I will tell you this, beer for a lot of years has been a staple, kind of like bread, right? So there's twists and turns on it, but the core ingredients, to me, and I'll just state this, there's kind of this seltzer craze, and I'm not looking down on you if you like seltzers, But to me, a good beer should be based on malt, right? And should like feature the malt in the flavor profile. And you know, there's hops as well. So those core ingredients. So to me, like in the future beer, I would say like you should find something that isn't like extreme to any end of that, because I think you should experience what kind of like a balanced beer is about. So maybe the first beer, I mean, we make a lot of good balanced beers, but I would definitely shoot after something that is like a pale ale almost, right? Like to me, that's just like the quintessential thing to open it up with. You got a little bit of hop feature, but balanced still nicely with a malt backbone. So,
well, if Mom likes Copper Star so much, and Copper Star is a beer of the future.
It was actually sent from the future.
Mom and child should share some Copper Star. Yeah.
Great idea. Right, spacey.
First beer, you know, it's not a full bore traditional IPA. It's a little bit more gentle on the hop, but you get a good malt profile, like you said, Peter. Good hop profile. It's very well-rounded beer.
Huh.
Hey, we got a little shout out here from Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on.
Oh, and Tyler is, I mean, he's our friend outside it all, of course, but he represents one of our distributors and our distributor in our home territory here. So shout out to Alliance Beverage as well.
And Phil was baiting us. He was looking for this answer.
He's such a slocum.
That
would be unfortunate.
All right, guys.
I was gonna
at
say,
21, you should maybe at 0 you should be drinking that, but at 21, I don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say Natural Light, Red Dog, Zima, all that shitty stuff we all had to drink and learn our lessons from. That's what you learn your damn lesson. That's what you do. Oh no, that's the wrong way to do it. That's the wrong. I'm just saying. No. Get that shit, and then you appreciate the good stuff.
All right, this has been a presentation of Beard's Brewery.
I think we got cut off. My bad. My bad.
No. We really what makes it fun. We're so happy that you guys were able to do this with us, and we can't wait to see everyone in the pub again. Do you two, Emily or Steve, have any sign off you want to say?
No, just
thanks.
Cheers and stay healthy, guys.
I ran out of beer, but I'll say cheers to my drops in my glass here.
I have a little bit. I'll do cheers, and I will say, get the most delicious beer of summer you can. Copper Star Galactica. Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.